Cops, what has so far been the creepiest call you've ever had to respond to, and what happened? Working third shift on Halloween night, I was cruising through one of the smaller neighborhoods just outside the city limits. This area is by a little lake that's pretty popular with the local teens. They like to come out, drink, and party. The neighborhood itself is pretty nice. Lots of well-kept houses with manicured lawns. Every road in the area ends at this narrow two-lane road that loops all the way around the lake, and I was just about to make a turn onto it. As I slowed down at the stop sign, I started scanning to my right to get ready for the turn. But out of the corner of my eye, my headlights caught something hanging from one of the big trees along the walking path near the lake. At first, I thought maybe it was some kind of Halloween decoration. This neighborhood really goes all out for holidays. Ghosts dangling from porches, fake skeletons, the whole 9 yards. So I figured maybe this was just another decoration someone put up to get into the spooky spirit. I put the car in reverse and backed up slowly to get a better look. The figure was still hanging there, swaying slightly in the cold night breeze. As soon as my flashlight landed on it, the decoration illusion shattered. Not a prop. It was a guy, hanging from the tree, dead. My heart sank. I stood there for a second, trying to wrap my head around it, the silence around me growing heavier. The only sounds were the leaves rustling and distant faint voices. I pulled out my radio to call it in, trying to keep my voice steady. But before I could even get a word out, I caught movement down the street.
A group of kids came into view, trick-or-treaters out for the night. The last thing I wanted was for them to stumble onto the scene, or worse, see what was hanging there. As soon as they saw my patrol car, they started heading toward me faster, probably thinking I was there for them, or just curious about the flashing lights. I hit the gas and sped back up the block, heart pounding, and caught up with the mom walking with the group. I told her to take the long way around, to avoid this block altogether. I didn't have to say more. She could see it on my face. I was serious. The look of shock and unease in her eyes told me she knew something was wrong. Later, I found out the guy was only 20 years old. He'd been crushed over a breakup with his girlfriend. She lived in the last house on that block, and the next morning she would see him hanging there when she looked out her window. It was one of the most haunting calls I've ever been on. The neighborhood's festive Halloween decorations made it even stranger. Here you had this cheerful, family-friendly vibe completely shattered by such a tragic and dark moment. Seeing a life end like that, and knowing how close it was to someone who cared about him, stuck with me. Sometimes, as officers, we deal with the shock and horror by pushing it down and moving on to the next call. But that night, the image of that guy hanging in the tree stayed with me for a long time after my shift ended. Halloween was supposed to be about fun and candy and kids in costumes, not something so deeply sad and heavy. That was the creepiest, most surreal call I've ever had to respond to, hands down.